Oh boy, we got an interesting podcast for you all today. Bruh, what the fuck did we just watch?
I don't know. What do you think you watched?
I don't even know where to begin to describe this, but hello guys, welcome back to the Charming Analysis Podcast. Today we're going to be doing a podcast about the suspense movie Get Out. Mm-hmm. Me and Jay just saw this, and Jay is very passionate about this movie and stuff from this director. And so far I know that he's only done like 2 different movies. Has he done more?
He's done The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And he did, he's doing, I think he's doing Candyman. I'm not sure.
Okay, so since you're more passionate about this than me, at least tell me who the director is and what he's done. Tell the audience, honey. Well, who is he?
Is a director. I need to research this. Give me 1 second. Let me...
Literally, we binge watched a bunch of movies because we had a lot to talk about in this podcast and another one we're going to be recording after this one. Because originally when we were going to do this podcast, we were originally going to be doing it with a bunch of other movies in mind. Because when we did the first recording for Final Destination, which will be uploaded soon... Mm-hmm. We did all 5 movies in that, and JC was like, hey, why don't we just do 5 movies at a time, so that way we can get done a little bit quicker. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. This was originally going to be part of that, but it got so intense, JC was like, let's just make this into its own video.
Yeah. Also, I looked it up, Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. So, Key and Peele was the guy...
No. That's... You ever heard of Key and Peele?
No.
Michael Key and Jordan Peele.
The
comedy.
Jordan Peele.
They're the comedy. They had a show, Key and Peele.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Jordan Peele, Key and Michael Keel.
No.
I don't know this guy's fucking name.
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele created this movie, another movie we're eventually going to be doing called Us, and he's also done The Twilight Zone. Right?
Literally everything that I repeated, but okay.
But I'm just trying to clarify because I don't know.
Look, all you need to know is that he got his start in comedy with Michael Key, and now he's out directing thriller suspense movies for black audiences.
Yeah,
this is made by a black person to black people.
It was
from a black experience.
Still fucking interesting though.
Yeah.
So basically, to sum up this movie, we're gonna do a quick summary, and then I'm gonna let JC take it away because they have a lot to talk about for this movie.
Well, I more want to answer your questions that you have, because Mari, I thought they were gonna get it while watching this movie, but apparently they didn't. So I'm going to explain to them as best as I can. Keep in mind, I am not a black person. I do not say that I have any experiences being a black person.
Same here. I'm not black either.
Yeah.
Just for reference for you guys, because I'm not gonna never show my face. I'm not gonna do a face reveal. Mm-hmm. If you guys go on TikTok, you'll see J/JC on there quite a bit, so you probably would already know what they look like. They have shown their face on TikTok. Yeah. I personally am not going to do a face reveal, but I will say I'm not black or African American. Just, that's all I'm going to say about me personally. Mm-hmm. But we don't relate to what has happened in this movie or in any kind of culture like that. So
I can't relate what happens in this movie as a black person, but as a minority person, this movie scares the ever-living shit out of me.
It scared me, and I'm just, what the heck did we just watch? Anyway.
You're passing. I'll say that.
Yeah. Anyway. So, quick synopsis before we actually get into the nitty-gritty and shit. Just for reference, you guys, this is rated R. There is gore in this, so viewer discretion is advised. Mm-hmm. Just so you guys understand, this is a suspense thriller, but it does have gore in it. Mainly toward the end of the movie. So I'm just giving you guys that out there in case you guys don't like gore, then you're aware of it. Anyway, Get Out is basically about a guy named Chris who is black, who was dating a white girl named... What was her name again? I'm trying to remember.
We're terrible with names, so...
Do you remember what her name was? At least her name. I keep thinking Claire, but it's not Claire. That was from a different movie.
I think it is. I don't know. I forget. I'm not good with names.
I'm not good with names either, but basically, basic synopsis of it. Black guy dating white girl. White girl takes black guy to visit family for the first time. It's basically that experience.
Shit ensues.
But then a lot of fucked up shit ensues to the point where I'm just like, what the fuck am I even watching?
Honestly, the less we spoil, the better.
Yeah.
But in other words, we're going to spoil this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, we can't, like, go without spoiling this. Uh-huh. So there is going to be spoiler warnings for those who have not seen this movie. So there's no way we can explain this without spoiling it. Yeah. There really isn't. So, yeah, basically that happens. And I guess we'll just get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah.
So I guess... I want you to take over for this one, just because you have seen this movie twice, while I've only seen it once, and you said
I saw it 3 times, but
You've
I never
seen it
saw
3?
it. But I've never seen it in the theater. I just caught it one time when I was like, it was one of those like channel things where it was like the first time I saw it was like when we got on new service and they weren't like just the free movie channels. They were, like, there, and I happened to catch this, and I was like, oh, let's Get Out, let me watch it, and I ended up loving it, and honestly, I'm not going to shortcut it, I love this movie, but it gives me really high anxiety. It's probably one of the best thrillers I've ever seen.
Yeah, it gives you high anxiety with the stuff they talk about, the stuff that is gone over in it and displayed in the movie. I didn't expect it to be as intense as it was, personally, because the last couple horror movies we've seen, because if you guys didn't know, this is going to be part of our Halloween Spectacular podcast that we're doing for the month of October.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching a bunch of different Halloween, horror, and suspense thrillers throughout the month, and we're going to be doing reviews on pretty much all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we have some Halloween content, since JC really loves Halloween. While during Christmas, I'll be doing some Christmas reviews with you guys and JC as well. Mm-hmm. But we're just going to JC wanted to focus more on the Halloween stuff, and I'll be focusing more on the Christmas. Just an FYI. So I guess, why don't you explain what the movie is about? If you don't mind me saying, honey. Why don't you explain, I guess what Chris goes through. So I basically said he is going to meet his girlfriend's parents, and they've been dating for about 5 months. So what happens from there?
You want me to sum it up?
Just explain. You had a lot to explain, so I'm telling you how.
I do have a lot to explain, but it's normally the little details that I was like, every time I asked you, did you get it? Did you get it? And then you were like, no. And I'm like, how are you not getting this?
You have to either explain it to me or actually show me what you're talking about. Because sometimes I'm not going to be able to get it. Some movies I can get stuff.
Okay.
Like I can get what's implied. But with this one, I couldn't. I really didn't know what was even going on.
So you don't get the
basic plot.
No. About this movie being like from a black person's experience and from a black man. This is how he wants to tell this story about how white people can't exactly be racist, but they can. I think that this is modern glorified racism from a black man's perspective.
I can definitely see that. Now that you're explaining it, I can definitely see that. So what is basically going on from what I can tell in the movie, JC can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, go ahead. I'd like
But
you to explain.
basically, Chris ends up meeting the girl's parents. They seem pretty nice people. They seem to like him a lot. Mm-hmm. But then he also finds out that they also have 2 African American people that live there that also help them out. Like, they have a maid that helps out in the kitchen and stuff, and then they have like a gardener who helps out, like chopping wood and making sure everything's good because he's a groundskeeper. So, and that's something I noticed off right the bat. As soon as I fucking looked, okay, the groundskeeper more than the lady, the maid, the groundskeeper, I felt so many bad vibes. So many bad vibes from his character. I don't know what the fuck was going... I don't know what the fuck made me have the bad vibes, but as soon as I saw him, I just felt dread. I felt fucking dread. I didn't want to see him on screen. It made me so anxious, and I don't know why. I still don't know why.
The whole movie makes you anxious.
I know, but him specifically, along with, like, a couple other things that happen. Like, that happens, and then a party ends up happening where a bunch of the parents' friends and stuff, people that they know, come to the party. They're all white people except for one guy, and he's dating an older white lady. Mm-hmm. So, well, almost everyone's white. There was a Chinese guy, too. And, basically, everything goes according to normally, and then Chris ends up talking to the other African-American guy that's there. And then all of a sudden, the Chinese guy was like, do you consider African-American people an advantage or a disadvantage to society? And I'm like, okay, what? Like, it came out of nowhere. So I was
I
like...
mean, you weren't getting it beforehand is what kind of shocked me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why I didn't notice it until you said something. I don't know why I didn't notice it.
It's because...
I feel so dumb.
Well, let's be completely honest. I think some of that is just ignorance. Not being ignorant of you. I mean being, like, somewhat ignorant of the fact that, like, it's mostly little signs that are just put into this movie. But if you notice them, then they're going to click for you right ahead. I think people who aren't really going to notice them are people who are not socially aware of these things or haven't really been taught these things that have happened in history or, like, you know, just in society in general. Like, when it started, they put you in a scenario where this guy is just meeting the parents. It's a meeting the parents situation. All it is just very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like, it's very uncomfortable.
But, like, mild uncomfortable. Because the guy's probably nervous because he doesn't want to fuck up the situation.
Well, you already got the beginning of it where... I'm sorry, I'm tired.
It's okay.
You already got the beginning of it where the beginning line, the beginning scene is addressing the fact that the girl did not specifically tell the parents that he was bringing home a black man. And it gives you right in the beginning scene with the 2 main characters, like, boom, there's your conflict. It's like, this black man is entering a white person's house, and he does not know what to expect.
Yeah.
He does not know what to expect, and he immediately thinks that he has to protect himself in some way. Yeah. Because that's just how society is. Even if they're, like, the nicest people, they're going to act differently because you're black.
Yeah.
And, like, immediately you get that, like, in the rest of the movie. Where the girlfriend is overprotective of him to the point where she's, like, gets angry whenever somebody, I guess, questions him or thinks that people are being racist and like using different slang around him because of his race.
Yeah.
And it makes you think. It makes you think that this girl is like, you know, it makes you think that this girl is like, you know, overprotecting him in a way that is seen as cool, or seems like, you know, seems to want to let his guard down. And him being the minority in society is like, look, he's probably so calm about the whole situation, and like people treat him like this way because he grew up like that. That's just how it is. Like, he's not overreacting when, like, you know, he's not overreacting when the police wants to see his ID. He's not overreacting about the little things that the family says around him during dinner. He's not overreacting when, like, he finds, like, this, like, whole situation weird, is because he does not want to be seen as the aggressor. And that's what he's been taught his whole life. And he's probably numb to the whole thing. He's probably like, this is normal, and I'm just going to go with it, even if I think it's weird or uncomfortable.
Yeah. So that's basically what is being talked about in this. So after, I think I skipped something. After, like, that night where they are, like, before the party situation starts, Chris ends up talking to the mom about his childhood and stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, she's been doing this thing with, like, her tea, and this was, like, a trigger, okay? So, she's basically using the tea and stirring the spoon around her teacup as, like, a trigger for her hypnosis, because she's a hypnotist. So, while they're talking, she is constantly doing that. And then all of a sudden, once it clicks to the point where it's, like, understood and implied enough to where it clicks, he basically goes into, like, this... He basically passes out. And you see, like, he could still hear and see, he just can't move. It's like he's paralyzed with fear or something like that.
Fear, guilt.
A lot of different emotions.
Could be, it's just an overwhelming sense of dread.
Yeah.
It's just an overwhelming sense of dread, and you see him falling in his subconscious. And
yeah. He's basically...
terrifyingly beautiful.
Yeah. The imagery in this movie is very well done. Like, it's very well done. And then at the party, this is where shit hits the fucking fan. And I did not expect this at all. At first I thought, okay, this doesn't seem that bad. And I'm like, where is it actually going to get to the horror stuff? Because I didn't know how this was going to go. So the other African-American guy at the party is talking with Chris and the other people, and then all of a sudden, Chris is...
Wait, you didn't... Wait,
I skipped something?
Well, you skipped the little things.
Well, can you explain what the little things are?
Okay, at the party, he's pretty much talking to the people, who are all white.
Well, I know that.
And they're asking him questions. And the questions that they were asking him were borderline
racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part I noticed.
Like, let me feel that form. Like, she looks at the girlfriend. One of the party people looks at the girlfriend and says, "Is it better?" Clearly referring to like comparing sex from a white man to a black man.
Oh Lord.
And
Okay, those are two things I absolutely did notice, but I didn't know if that was part of the plot or if that was just something that they just put in there for no reason, without any context.
No.
I didn't realize it had to do with it.
No, that was pretty much, that whole scene is pretty much saying, like, that pretty much whole scene is these people's, like, you know, saying being a black person is better. And they're, like, being a black person is, like, you know, a reward. It's better than being a white person. It's more about physique. It is more about, like activity of the body and mind. And they're testing that. They're questioning Chris about that because, like, they want to be that.
Yeah.
And that's where the terrifying part comes in. Because when you finally get to his friend who had a different attitude before he even met up with these people, and now his whole mind is... That's another thing that freaked me out. The way that they talked. The way that the I'm just going to call it for what it is. The way that the servants talked. And the way that his old friend talked. They clearly designed it to where that is not what they talk like in their old lives. That's not what they talked like at all. They talk in this very well-spoken, almost... They talk like...
You trying to figure out a good word?
I'm trying not to use the J word. They talk in this, like, you know, very old type of black language.
Okay.
If you don't understand what I'm saying, pretty much the whole thing was like, pretty much, I'll give you an example. So pretty much when you watch an old slave movie, like, or just a slave movie in general, because honestly they're all it's all like
similar.
Yeah, it's all similar because, you know, it just has to be like that. But pretty much of how they talk is like, you know, when you watch just a normal slave movie and they're talking like they talk during the times, it's like, oh, well, I did not mean to do that, sir. I did not mean to cause you no harm. Like,
I did notice that too,
did,
but I didn't know if that was just...
No, that wasn't just the fact that they were just like, that's their normal speaking voice and that's just how they talk. No, they were talking like that after everything has happened. After everything. Every single one of them was talking like that.
Yeah.
And there was no, like, you can tell. And that's why I find so clever about this, is that you can tell that is not their real voice. That's not the real character.
Yeah.
But they talk like that anyway because of what their quote unquote masters have done to them.
Yeah. I can understand that.
They're under their control.
Because the fucking wife is a hypnotist, and it's like, why?
I know, but if you understand why it was so uncomfortable why you were so uncomfortable around those two, was because of the fact that they're not acting normal. This is not them. If it was them, then you wouldn't be acting so uncomfortable. But because they're talking really not like themselves.
Yeah.
They're not... They want to just...
It's
they
like
act like it. They act like nothing's going on, and it's disturbing. It's
it really is.
And then you get, like, you know, I guess you could talk about the point where the friend snaps.
Yeah. So apparently, there was one part where Chris was literally using his phone to, like, take a picture of the people to send to his friend, and the flash goes off. And all of a sudden, the only other African-American guy there snaps and is literally yelling at the guy to get out. And he's literally screaming at him, almost tackling him to the ground. And all the other people were grabbing him and pulling him away. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up going into the other room. And I'm assuming they hypnotize him again. Mm-hmm. And that freaked me out because that was the first time like something deeper is going on here.
You think?
That one scene was where I realized something deeper is going on that I just could not understand before. So that whole thing was, it felt like just a lot. It felt like a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot to process and deal with.
It was a lot to process, but at the same time, I think you need to know what's happening, and it's very obvious what's happening in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's very obvious to the point of where I was like, how are you not getting this? Like the scene right afterwards where it's just him and his girlfriend talking, and they keep on cutting back to the people in the chairs.
Yeah.
What do you think that was?
I didn't understand what that part was.
You really don't know?
No. But there was this one. I'll
tell you what happened.
Can you explain the scene to them?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Slave auction.
Okay then. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. They had a picture of him.
I was like, why was there a picture of him? No, I didn't realize that. Oh my god.
They had a picture of him, and they were holding up little
Bingo cards.
bingo cards that were telling them how much of a price he was gonna be. They were selling him to the rich white people.
What the fuck? Oh gosh, that's. Oh no. Oh no.
I like that I explained to you, because like you were like, are they selling a picture of him? And I just had to.
Literally, that's what I said when I was watching. I'm like, why are they selling a picture of him? And as soon as you say that, okay, now stuff is starting to click together. Yeah. Damn, this guy knows how to make imagery. Like, dude. Gosh.
And that's what the NFL got criticized for, actually.
Okay, what now?
About the controversy about the NFL that were holding up, like, that were pretty much holding up, like, they were doing the exact same shit. Pretty much.
Why?
Just football players.
Why?
I don't know. This whole country is run on some type of inner racism that it needs to deal with. But that's a different topic for a different day. We're talking about Get Out, which also has to deal with racism in a modern world.
We get it. Anyway, so
now you get it.
Yes, now I'm starting to understand it.
Yeah.
But there was some stuff I still didn't get.
Okay.
So
explain to me,
okay,
dear child.
So after the whole thing, Chris was literally like trying to explain to his girlfriend, like, basically saying, I'm having bad vibes. I want to leave.
Okay.
Because of the way everyone's treating me, I feel like he was very uncomfortable about the situation and just wanted to leave.
Okay.
And he was trying to convince his girlfriend to leave, and eventually she does give in to it. And then while they're packing their stuff up, he literally goes into this little closet that's open, and he sees this, like, red box, and he bends down and, like, starts looking at the pictures. I was trying to understand who those people were with her. Do you have any idea who they were?
Past victims.
Okay, so they were the past victims, because I recognized the girl, and that was the maid. So we saw the maid. Did we see the groundskeeper in those pictures?
I think.
I'm
not sure.
I know she was at least in it. I don't know if he was in it, though. But that was a thing, and then I didn't realize the girl okay, and then literally when you go down the stairs, and Chris is, like, telling his girlfriend, where are the keys? Because he wanted to leave really bad. And she was, like, literally trying to look for the keys. The brother has a lacrosse stick, and the mom and dad are, like, everyone's trying to gang up on him because he wants to leave. And they really don't want him to leave. They want him to fucking stay.
Do you know why this is the most, like, why now that this is terrifying to minorities now?
Yeah, because...
Look, being stuck in that situation where I just wanted to leave some white people... It gets terrifying.
Yeah, it really does.
Terrifying.
This movie does get terrifying. Because there's literally one part where nothing literally happened. I literally went like, ee!
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
And it was literally at the beginning when nothing was going on.
Yeah,
and then you see the fucking groundskeeper guy running up to Chris, and he looks like the cop guy from Chloe the Chance Meatballs. It's like Flintlock Wood. That literally looked like him running. And I was like...
He's also black.
Yeah, but still. Like, it literally looked like the cop guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The guy that was like, flint like wood. That guy. But it reminded me of him for some reason.
Okay, what were you going to say? You got completely lost.
Okay, so the part with, like, the whole... keys, he was trying to get the key, she was trying to get the keys out, everyone was starting to gang up on him, they were all talking about life, death, and like divine something, some kind of fucked up bullshit. I can't really remember how they
I thought that was a god accomplice thing.
I think it was. I really think it was. It made it look like the white people in this movie were seeming like gods while everyone else is below them, and it's like, it's very, very bad. Everyone's equal. Okay, like, everybody's equal, no matter what, but still, the way that they described this, it made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
I know, and then he literally turns to her, he's like, yelling at her to give him the fucking keys, and then she takes the keys out, and she's like, you really think I'm gonna give you these keys? She fucking turns on him!
Yeah.
She was literally in on it! I literally, like, was staring at the screen, she's fucking in on this? I didn't think she had anything to do with this.
No, I think that's just how she lures her victims. Overconfidence in how they want to feel safe. But they're not safe with her.
What the fuck?
They're not safe.
That, like, messed me up for, like, the
That
last...
fucked me up.
The last half of the movie is so fucked up, it's not even funny.
Well, you have to think about it. Like, you have to think about how many people she's tricked.
She's tricked at least, like, 6 people.
Well, yeah, but you gotta think about this, too. How many times did she go over this to where she can do it with a straight face? And
probably a lot of times.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the mom ends up doing the T thing again, the T trigger. I'm just going to call it the T trigger because that's literally what it is. She taps the glass of the tea and the guy ends up falling and like laying on the ground. He can still hear and see, but he's back in the void again. And it's like, oh great, this again. And that was freaking me out. Not from like the racial standpoints. This was more freaking me out for the fact that it literally looked like they were kidnapping him. It literally...
They were. What do you...
I know, but the fact that they were kidnapping him was the thing that freaked me out. Because it's like, it's scary. It's fucking scary. Like, it's so fucking scary, it's not even funny. But, so yeah, and then all of a sudden it goes to black, and then, sorry about that, lost my train of thought. Anyway, so after he ends up going back into, like, the void again, he ends up waking up in this room with the TV and a big-ass deer head. There's also, like, a bunch of little, like, fireplaces in the room. And he's, like, strapped to the seat with a bunch of belts. So he's, like, trapped there. And there's, like, a video on the TV. This is one of the things that I was actually really confused on. What is the coagula thing that they're talking about? What was that whole thing?
I'm sure it means something, but as of right now, I don't know what that means.
Because that was, like, I was so confused on what that even was. But, so basically, he watches this video, and it happens to be a picture of the family that was in earlier in the movie and stuff. So that ends up being a thing in the whole movie and stuff. So he's in there trying to escape, and he's in there for a while, and then after a while, you see this scene where I don't know if the other guy's related to the family or not. Did he say if he was related? That one guy on the TV that came up later?
If he's related
to, like, the family in the movie.
Maybe.
Because I don't know.
I don't remember.
But yeah, he comes up on the screen and ends up trying to explain to Chris that I think he's blind and he's trying to use Chris to see. Mm-hmm. I think the best way I can put it. So, yeah. I guess if I had to pick something about this movie that I was surprised at was like literally the ending. Eventually, you see this one scene where the dad and the brother are literally opening up this one guy's fucking head, and that freaked me out. What was that whole scene about? Him, like, cutting off the head and the brain and all that crap. What was
That's
that?
what happened to the other servants.
So
if you didn't notice beforehand, the father said that they were there to take care of his parents.
Well, that part I remember.
His parents, he transferred their brain into the unwilling servants, and that's why they're very loyal to them. That's why he said, I brought them to take care of my parents. His parents wanted them to be in a possibly younger
Body,
and maybe has something to do with race. I think so, because that's just how the movie is presented.
What the fuck?
So you see it in the thing. They have lines on their skulls.
I never noticed that until you pointed that out. Oh Lord, this is getting even more creepier and creepier, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
That's why the girlfriend said, grandma and grandpa. And the only...
Fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck! Oh, I didn't even... Okay, now it clicked. What the fuck, man? This is so messed up, it's not even funny. Like, I don't know why... This is freaking me out so bad. Anyway, so that whole thing happens. The guy thankfully escapes, and the girl is looking for another guy to bring into the situation. Mm-hmm. And that, because she's like literally doing the most chaotic thing ever. She's eating her Fruit Loops and the milk separately.
It's a white thing.
Yeah, I know. I've done that before.
I know.
But still, like...
That was the biggest laugh in the movie, honestly, for me.
That whole thing?
Yeah, because that is just such a clever detail to put in there.
I noticed that, and I'm like, that's the same thing I do, but dude, why do you have to point that out? Why?
That's just what he does.
Why?
He has a finger hold in comedy. That's why.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, so that whole thing happens, and, oh, gosh. This last scene was just sad, because he was trying to get out of the house. He ends up killing the dad, killing the mom, killing the brother, and, like, stabbing him. And then the girlfriend ends up finding out that he's escaping, and Chris ends up seeing the maid lady, who apparently is the fucking grandma, apparently, and takes her, because he feels bad that she ends up getting hurt. And then, while he's driving, she wakes up and starts trying to choke him, and they end up crashing the car. And then basically from there, to sum it up, he ends up, the girlfriend and the grandpa, in quotes, ends up dying. And Chris ends up leaving, and that's the whole story. The end. Yeah, that's literally the whole thing. I'm trying my best.
Except it's not.
I know.
No, I mean, it's not. You know what the original ending was to this movie?
No.
There is an original ending. It's fully shot. They just didn't leave it in there because it was too depressing.
What was it?
Or the studio probably said, no, we're not going to do that because it's probably too relevant to what's happening.
What happened?
So what was happening was that the original, it was an alternative ending. I don't know if it was the original ending that Jordan wanted or
was an alternate.
I don't know. It's just it's an alternate ending, and it's
they
the exact same scene, except like the exact same scene. The police car shows up, and he's like, he pretty much just leaves the woman to die on the street. But instead of his friend, it's two officers, two completely different policemen,
who see that he is on top of a woman and that she is dead. And so the police instantly say, raise up your hand, raise up your hands, while pointing guns at him. And he does comply. And the next scene of him is in jail because he is convicted of murder for killing the whole man's family.
What?
And his friend visits him in jail saying, we're going to get you out of this. And it leaves on the bitter note that injustice is not in his favor, and that the system
my
is corrupt.
fucking gosh. Okay, I'm glad they didn't put that in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know what it was said now. Like, to be honest, that will always be relevant to me. I don't think it would have made a difference whether or not they put that. I think because of the fact that it was just so overwhelming with dread, the fact that you wanted a happy ending, I think maybe that was for the better.
Yeah.
That was probably for the better because you spent so much of the movie just tension, so much tension, and then you finally got a little bit of slimmer of a happy ending, even though the ending itself is not happy.
It's not really happy. Well, he gets out, but like the thing says get out, but he ends up he probably got PTSD from that shit. He's probably more freaked out than he was before he left.
Yeah.
And that's the scary hard truth. Anyway, so I guess what would you rate this movie? Since we've kind of already talked a lot about it, and it's already like...
It's a 9 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I probably give it an 8.5. So, since we've been talking about this long enough, it has been probably like 45 minutes, I'm assuming.
Probably.
So, yeah, that's the end of the podcast. We had to make this our own separate podcast. So, we are going to be doing another one, but it's probably going to be like a shorter video. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm Mari.
I'm Jay.
And we're out.